If one were to travel through the deserts of Central Asia, he would observe how many cities, once great and prosperous like Paris and London, are now demolished and razed to the ground. From the Caspian Sea to the river Oxus there stretch wild and desolate plains, deserts, wildernesses, and valleys. For 2 days and 2 nights the Russian railway traverseth the ruined cities and uninhabited villages of that wasteland. Formerly that plain bore the fruit of the finest civilizations of the past. Tokens of development and refinement were apparent all around. Arts and sciences were well protected and promoted, professions and industries flourished, commerce and agriculture had reached a high stage of efficiency, and the foundations of government and statesmanship were laid on a strong and solid basis. Today, that vast stretch of land hath become mostly the shelter and asylum of Turcoman tribes, and an arena for the ferocious display of wild beasts. The ancient cities of that plain, such as Gorgan, Nisa, Abivard, and Shahristan, famous throughout the world for their arts, sciences, culture, industry, and well known for their wealth, greatness, prosperity, and distinction, have given way to a wilderness wherein no voice is heard save the roaring of wild beasts, and where bloodthirsty wolves roam at will. This destruction and desolation was brought about by war and strife, dissension and discord between the Persians and the Turks, who differed in their religion and customs. So rigid was the spirit of religious prejudice that the faithless leaders sanctioned the shedding of innocent blood, the ruin of property, and the desecration of family honor. This is to cite only one illustration. Consequently, when thou traversest the regions of the world, thou shalt conclude that all progress is the result of association and cooperation, while ruin is the outcome of animosity and hatred. Notwithstanding this, the world of humanity doth not take warning, nor doth it awake from the slumber of heedlessness. Man is still causing differences, quarrels, and strife in order to marshal the cohorts of war, and with his legions rush into the field of bloodshed and slaughter. Then again, consider the phenomenon of composition and decomposition, of existence and non-existence. Every created thing in the contingent world is made up of many and varied atoms, and its existence is dependent on the composition of these. In other words, through the divine creative power, a conjunction of simple elements taketh place, so that from this composition a distinct organism is produced. The existence of all things is based upon this principle, but when the order is deranged, decomposition is produced, and disintegration setteth in. Then that thing ceaseth to exist. That is, the annihilation of all things is caused by decomposition and disintegration. Therefore, attraction and composition between the various elements is the means of life, and discord, decomposition, and division produce death. Thus, the cohesive and attractive forces in all things lead to the appearance of fruitful results and effects, while estrangement and alienation of things lead to disturbance and annihilation. Through affinity and attraction, all living things like plants, animals, and men come into existence, while division and discord bring about decomposition and destruction. Consequently, that which is conducive to association and attraction and unity among the sons of men is the means of the life of the world of humanity, and whatever causeth division, repulsion, and remoteness leadeth to the death of humankind. And if, as thou passest by fields and plantations, thou observest that the plants, flowers, and sweet-smelling herbs are growing luxuriantly together, forming a pattern of unity, this is an evidence of the fact that that plantation and garden is flourishing under the care of a skillful gardener. But when thou seest it in a state of disorder and irregularity, thou inferrest that it hath lacked the training of an efficient farmer, and thus hath produced weeds and tares. It therefore becometh manifest that amity and cohesion are indicative of the training of the real educator, and dispersion and separation a proof of savagery and deprivation of divine education. A critic may object, saying that peoples, races, tribes, and communities of the world are of different and varied customs, habits, tastes, character, inclinations, and ideas, that opinions and thoughts are contrary to one another, and how therefore is it possible for real unity to be revealed and perfect accord among human souls to exist? In answer, we say that differences are of two kinds. One is the cause of annihilation, and is like the antipathy existing among warring nations and conflicting tribes who seek each other's destruction, uprooting one another's families, depriving one another of rest and comfort, and unleashing carnage. The other kind, which is a token of diversity, is the essence of perfection, and the cause of the appearance of the bestowals of the most glorious Lord. Consider the flowers of a garden. Though differing in kind, color, form, and shape, yet inasmuch as they are refreshed by the waters of one spring, revived by the breath of one wind, invigorated by the rays of one sun, this diversity increaseth their charm, and addeth unto their beauty. Thus, when that unifying force, the penetrating influence of the Word of God, taketh effect, the difference of customs, manners, habits, ideas, opinions, and dispositions embellisheth the world of humanity. This diversity, this difference, is like the naturally created dissimilarity and variety of the limbs and organs of the human body, for each one contributeth to the beauty, efficiency, and perfection of the whole. When these different limbs and organs come under the influence of man's sovereign soul, and the soul's power pervadeth the limbs and members, veins and arteries of the body, then difference reinforceth harmony, diversity strengtheneth love, and multiplicity is the greatest factor for coordination. How unpleasing to the eye, if all the flowers and plants, the leaves and blossoms, the fruits, the branches, and the trees of that garden were all of the same shape and color. Diversity of hues, form, and shape enricheth and adorneth the garden, and heighteneth the effect thereof. In like manner, when diverse shades of thought, temperament, and character are brought together under the power and influence of one central agency, the beauty and glory of human perfection will be revealed and made manifest. Naught but the celestial potency of the Word of God, which ruleth and transcendeth the realities of all things, is capable of harmonizing the divergent thoughts, sentiments, ideas, and convictions of the children of man. Verily, it is the penetrating power in all things, the mover of souls, and the binder and regulator in the world of humanity.